Wednesday, it's News Make Alive, where we make your stories our stories. This evening, it's bittersweet for me because this will be our last episode for the year. So this is it until next year sometime. And it's bittersweet. I look forward every Wednesday to coming to the studio and to sharing with you my thoughts on certain things. Some of you like it, some of you don't. But for the most part, most of you respect it. And for that, I'm eternally grateful. So it's a bit bittersweet for me just being here and knowing that this is the last time I'm going to interface with you for the year. But it means, therefore, I can now go off and enjoy the rest of my birthday month. Yes, Lucia, it is my birthday month. And in 2 weeks on one day, I will be celebrating my birthday. No, I'm not going to tell you how old I am. I'm however old you want me to be. But it is a joyous month for me. And it's going to be a joyous 2 weeks and one day to come. So I want to say off the bat, thank you for tuning in every Wednesday and joining me, making the calls and interacting with me and my various guests over the last few months. So, what do I have in store for you today? Should we be doing trending, or do we just, what do we do? It's going to be my last trending for the year, and after that, I just want to chat with you. I just want to hear what were your best shows for the year, and what stood out for you the last few months since I've been doing the show. And what do you look forward to? What are your aspirations for the new year? So it's going to be a very light-hearted show this evening, and we're just going to wrap and tell me how you feel about me and how you expect the show to grow in the next year, okay? But that will soon come. Let me just get the trending out of the way. We'll take a break, and when we come back, it will be your turn to call me and tell me what were your favorite shows. And I'm going to share some of my favorite moments with you as well. So, trending in the news. So we have another suicide. We assume this past week, a young man at the age of 26 decided, enough was enough and that he was going to take his life. Things are really hard. And I can just imagine, those Christmas blues, how it feels for young people, not having a job, not being able to cope, perhaps having some lady problems as well, and feeling that the only way out is by taking your life. And one of the shows that we did incidentally earlier this year and a few months ago was one as it pertains to suicide, and that there is a suicide hotline, and that people can, well, I don't think it was a suicide hotline, but mainly mental, like, if somebody is going a little mental and whatever, and you need help, then you can call. It's a 24-hour line, and that there are always going to be professionals on the other end of the line. And again, suicide is something that most people will tell you, most professionals will tell you, is as a result of depression. So use the line. If you know someone who is not themselves, who's feeling overwhelmed, please use the line. Call, reach out. Everyone, it's all of our business, and you can only get the help if you connect with somebody. So reach out to somebody this Christmas season. I know it's going to be tough for a lot of us, a lot of young people. Reach out to someone. Show that you care. Stretch out a helping hand. It is, after all, the season for giving and sharing and caring. So last week I spoke about this young lady who was found dead at a bar. Well, it so happens that her death has been ruled as a result of alcoholic intoxication. And again, it boils back to the first trending. Why would somebody drink so much that it's like alcohol poisoning, that they die from it? But what would be interesting is, and I know my mind goes a little crazy, so thank God this is the last show for the year. did she induce this alcohol? Did she take it in willingly? Was she forced? Was she coerced? Was she egged on? It would be interesting to know what happened in those last few moments of her life. So many times we have young people dying tragically, but we have no idea as to what went on in the few last moments before they died. Is there an investigation going on? These are some of the things that we need to know. Yes, alcoholic intoxication, but what led to that? Will there be an investigation? Is there an ongoing investigation? Will we ever know? And a few months ago in Vieux Fort, I think it was a Western Union, but forgive me if I'm wrong, but I know it was a type of institution such as that. There was a case where one of those institutions, the gentleman who was opened up and had his guard, and then as soon as the guard left, he was robbed. I can't recall how much money was stolen at that point. But what was curious was that there were no cameras at the place, and there were no guards on duty. And I thought I was passing strange. I said, oh my gosh, can you imagine? The one time that you don't have a guard with you or whatever, you get robbed, and you get robbed of so much money and the money isn't yours. And I kept thinking, I hope they're insured. I hope the monies are insured, because, I mean, it's a not a bank, but one of those financial institutions, money coming in, money going out. So you would hope that they had insurance. We heard nothing more about the investigation into that robbery. This week, we heard of another one, Western Union in Grosley, where an armed guy casually just saunters into the place and robs the place of $61,000. Come as you please. And I'm thinking to myself, well, for sure that they must have caught this person on camera. But what happened to the guards? Did they try to stop the robbery, only to find out, guess what? Again, no guards. And the cameras were out of commission. I may seem cynical, but to me, that seems like an inside job. I'm just saying. I don't know anything. I'm not a cop. I don't have the inside scoop. But I'm just saying, as a lay person, an institution of this type, in the Christmas season, when unemployment is so high and people are so desperate and frustrated and crying out, and when crime has been on an increase, robberies have been on an increase, you're telling me that you are running an institution such as a Western Union, you have no guards on duty, and your cameras are out of order? Talk about negligence. What about the lives of your employees? What about the lives of your patrons? Do you care about that? You have got to be kidding me, telling me that a Western Union in this day and age, where every week there is another incident on the news, and you're telling me I could just walk in there and demand $61,000 and just walk out, come as I please? Well, I heard that there is a young lady in custody helping out with the investigation. What does that mean really anyway? Helping out with the investigation. I hope they find out soon who did this, and it's unfortunate that a family is going to have to lose a loved one in this festive season, but hey, you do the crime, got to do the time. And I found it passing strange, though, that, well, today I didn't really get to listen to the news, but yesterday I didn't hear anything about it, so I hope that's a newscast carried it out. So I found out that there's been a cosmic change in Venezuela, and that in the congressional elections, that Maduro's party has lost the congressional elections in Venezuela. Interesting. Interesting. This is like cosmic. This is like the Castros losing control of Cuba. What does that have? What implications is there for us, the ALBA countries, who depend so heavily on handouts from Venezuela? I mean, Maduro is still president, so it would be interesting to note what would happen and what would be the outcome of the next presidential elections. We are going to stay tuned, and we're going to watch. We're going to be avid in our following of the developments down in Venezuela. It's going to be very interesting. I just found it curious, though, that nobody carried that. I know there's a lot going on, but really that is cosmic. Actually, very, very cosmic. And my last trending, I mean, it's sort of like a comic relief. Political comic relief is what I call it. So on Sunday, the St. Lucia Labour Party at the convention celebrated 65 years of existence. And I would have thought that it would have been a big deal, and, it seemed to have been. But honestly, I got to tell you, Cyril, I love you. I have a lot of time for you. I think you're fantastic, especially the work that you do with the volunteers. But, sweetheart, you really ought to stay away from the prayers. That prayer, I couldn't understand. I couldn't begin to understand any Christian saying a prayer and not even barely mentioning God, and the usual. I didn't know what to make of your prayer. Honestly, I didn't. And then, directly after your prayer, then there was the Ave Maria sung by the Minister of Tourism. Well, the man can hold a note. I will not, knock him for that. But it was just a curious rendition, with the background singer, and he's singing in he's giving a different treatment to what the pre-recording was, and it was just very confusing and very distracting. I would have thought that he would have actually had a band or something else. Very distracting. So I thought that was, a fair treatment. And then, but it didn't end there, the Goss Fest. And I started asking myself, was I actually watching the convention or whatever it was that they had of the St. Lucia Labour Party, or was I watching some sort of red-infested Goss Fest? Because then they called on the Minister of Health to lead the praise and worship, and I thought, oh my gosh, you can sing, and I sat back and I'm still waiting, honestly. There was no singing. There was just a recording. There was no singing. And every time she sang one note, it's like her voice went out. And it's like, okay, well, if you know you can't sing, then you should stick to the things that you know. But I give her A for effort. She at least tried, and she went out there and didn't think a big deal of it and, give it her best shot. Yeah. But you know what? That's it. I am still speechless as to what exactly that was supposed to be. I could not watch anymore after that. So I hope you guys had a good convention. I hope it was everything that you hoped it to be. It certainly wasn't. The first few moments wasn't. It wasn't my cup of tea. And not because I'm not a member of your party. It just wasn't my cup of tea. Any party who would have had that as their opening, no, I'm sorry. But this has been my last trending thoughts for the year. When we come back from the break, it'll be your turn to chat with me as to what were your favorite moments, or your highs and your lows for the past year. Stay tuned.